They saw the world differently, and then they showed the rest of us what they saw. In this video, we visit the graves of famous Hollywood directors whose vision shaped the art form and left behind films that will outlast every soul. John Ford died August 31st, 1973, age 79. Buried at Holy Cross Cemetery, Culver City, California. Won 4 Best Director Oscars for films including The Grapes of Wrath and How Green Was My Valley. Thus, his westerns including Stagecoach and The Searchers define the mythology of the American frontier. His headstone bears his birth name, Sean Aloysius O'Fearna. Orson Welles died October 10th, 1985, age 70. Cremated, ashes buried in a dry well on the estate of retired bullfighter Antonio Ordonez in Ronda, Spain. Directed Citizen Kane at 25 and spent the rest of his life financing unfinished projects through acting roles. His final professional recording was the voice of Unicron in Transformers, the movie. Cecil B. DeMille died January 21st, 1959, age 77. Buried at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, Los Angeles, California. The founding showman of Hollywood, whose 1956 Ten Commandments remains one of the highest-grossing films in history, adjusted for inflation, directed over 70 films from the silent era to widescreen. Billy Wilder died March 27th. During 2002, age 95. Buried at Westwood Village Memorial Park, Los Angeles, California. Writer-director of Some Like It Hot, Sunset Boulevard, The Apartment, and Double Indemnity, who fled Austria ahead of the Nazis and lost his mother in the Holocaust. His headstone reads, "I'm a writer, but then nobody's perfect." John Huston died August 28th, 1987, age 81. Buried at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, Los Angeles, California. Director of The Maltese Falcon, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, and The African Queen. Directed his final film, The Dead, while dying of emphysema and connected to an oxygen tank. George Cukor died January 24th, 1983, age 83. Buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, California. Won Best Director for My Fair Lady after being famously fired from Gone with the Wind. Drew the finest performances from Katharine Hepburn, Garbo, Dom Bergman, and Garland across 5 decades. Stanley Kubrick died March 7th, 1999, age 70. Buried at Childwickbury Manor, his estate in Hertfordshire, England. Directed 2001, A Space Odyssey, A Clockwork Orange, The Shining, and Full Metal Jacket, while rarely leaving his English estate for 4 decades, died in his sleep 6 days after screening Eyes Wide Shut, buried beneath a favorite tree on private grounds. William Wyler died July 27th, 1981, age 79, buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, California. Most nominated director in Oscar history, who won 3 times for Ben-Hur. The Best Years of Our Lives and Mrs. Miniver partially lost his hearing. Filming bombing missions during World War II, directed more actors to Oscar-winning performances than any other director. Frank Capra died September 3rd, 1991, age 94, buried at Coachella Valley Public Cemetery, La Quina, California. Director of It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Next, Smith Goes to Washington and It Happened One Night, who won 3 Best Director Oscars in 5 years. It's a Wonderful Life only became beloved decades later through television airings after the copyright lapsed. Elia Kazan died September 28, 2003, age 94. Buried at Greenwood Union Cemetery, Peabody, Massachusetts. Director of On the Waterfront and A Streetcar, named Desire, who named 8 colleagues as communists before HUAC in 1952. When the Academy gave him an honorary Oscar in 1999, half the audience stood in ovation and half sat in silence. Akira Kurosawa died September 6, 1998, age 88. Buried at Anyo-in Temple, Kamakura, Japan. Director of Rashomon, 7 Samurai, Yojimbo, and Ran, whose work Lucas and Spielberg both credit as the foundation of their careers, attempted suicide in 1971 after a career setback, returned to direct 3 more masterworks. Federico Fellini died October 31st, 1993, age 73. Buried at the Fellini family tomb, Cemetery of Rimini, Italy. Director of La Dolce Vita, 8½, and Amarcord, who won 4 foreign language film Oscars and gave the language the word Fellini-esque, died the day after his 50th wedding anniversary. His wife, Giulietta Messina, died 5 months later and is buried beside him. Wes Craven died August 30th, 2015, age 76, buried at a private location. Created Freddy Krueger with A Nightmare on Elm Street, then deconstructed every rule he had established with Scream 12 years later. Held a master's degree from Johns Hopkins, dead from brain cancer. John Cassavetes died February 3, 1989, age 59, buried at Westwood Village Memorial Park, Los Angeles, California, godfather of American independent cinema, who financed Faces, A Woman Under the Influence, and The Killing of a Chinese Bookie by acting in studio films, buried at Westwood beside Billy Wilder. Sergio Leone died April 30th, 1989, age 60, buried at Cimitero del Verano, Rome, Italy. Reinvented the Western with the Dollars trilogy and Once Upon a Time in the West, died of a heart attack at 60. While preparing a film about the siege of Leningrad, his composer, Ennio Morricone, buried at Cimitero Laurentino in the same city after dying in 2020. Mike Nichols died November 19, 2014, age 83, buried at a private location. Director of The Graduate, Who's Afraid of Virginia, Wolf and Silkwood, who won the Best Director Oscar at age 36, one of only 18 people to win an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. John Hughes died August 6, 2009, age 59, buried at Lake Forest Cemetery, Lake Forest, Illinois. Writer-director of The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 16 Candles, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Home Alone, who defined 1980s teen cinema, died of a heart attack while walking in Manhattan at 59, had largely retired from filmmaking 15 years earlier. Richard Donner died July 5, 2021, age 91, buried at a private location. Director of Superman, The Goonies, and Lethal Weapon, who established the modern superhero film with Christopher Reeve's 1978 debut, married to producer Lauren Schuler Donner for 35 years. Penny Marshall died December 17, 2018, age 75. Cremated, ashes location, private. As first woman to direct a film that grossed over $100 million with Big. Also directed A League of Their Own and Awakenings, best known as Laverne DeFazio on Laverne and Shirley. Agnes Varda died March 29, 2019, age 90. Buried at Montparnasse Cemetery, Paris, France. Grandmother of the French New Wave, who directed Cleo from 5 to 7 and The Gleaners and I, received an honorary Oscar in 2017 and remained creatively active into her late 80s. George A. Romero died July 16, 2017, age 77. Cremated, ashes location, private. Father of the modern zombie film, whose Night of the Living Dead in 1968 created the genre. Dawn of the Dead in 1978 turned zombies into social commentary. The living dead have been walking in his footsteps ever since. John Singleton died April 28, 2019, age 51. Cremated, ashes location private. Became the youngest person and first African American nominated for Best Director for Boys, and The Hood at age 24, dead from a stroke at 51. Ivan Reitman died February 12th, 2022, age 75, buried at a private location. Director of Ghostbusters, Stripes, and Kindergarten, Cop, whose comedies defined 1980s studio filmmaking. His son Jason directed the Ghostbusters Legacy sequels, continuing the franchise. Wolfgang Peterson died August 12, 2022, age 81, buried at a private location. German director of Das Boot, The Never-Ending Story, In the Line of Fire, and The Perfect Storm, whose submarine thriller Das Boot earned 6 Oscar nominations. Tony Scott died August 19, 2012, age 68, interred at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, Los Angeles, California. Director of Top Gun, True Romance, Man on Fire, and Enemy of the State, Ridley Scott's younger brother, Oak, died by suicide from the Vincent Thomas Bridge in San Pedro. Milos Forman died April 13, 2018, age 86. buried at New Preston Cemetery, New Preston, Connecticut, and Czech-born director of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Amadeus, who won Best Director for both, fled Czechoslovakia after the 1968 Soviet invasion. Both his parents died in Nazi concentration camps. Harold Ramis died February 24, 2014, age 69, buried at Shalom Memorial Park, Arlington Heights, Illinois. Writer-director of Groundhog Day, Caddyshack, and Analyze. This who also co-wrote Ghostbusters and Stripes, performed as Egon Spengler in the Ghostbusters films. D.W. Griffith died July 23, 1948, age 73. Buried at Mount Tabor Methodist Church Cemetery, Centerfield, Kentucky. Father of narrative cinema, whose Birth of a Nation in 1915 revolutionized filmmaking while glorifying the Ku Klux Klan, pioneered the close-up, the fade-out and cross-cutting, died broke in a Hollywood hotel room, largely forgotten by the industry he created. Charlie Chaplin died December 25, 1977, age 88. Buried at Corsier-sur-Vevey Cemetery, Corsier-sur-Vevey, Switzerland. Writer-director star who created The Tramp, directed City Lights, Modern Times, and The Great Dictator, exiled from the United States during the McCarthy era and lived in Switzerland for 25 years. His coffin was stolen 3 months after burial and recovered 11 weeks later. Buster Keaton died February 1, 1966, age 70. Buried at Forest Lawn Hollywood Hills, Los Angeles, California. Silent era genius who directed and starred in The General, Sherlock Jr., and Steamboat Bill Jr., his career destroyed by alcoholism and the transition to sound, recognized as one of cinema's greatest artists only decades after his death. Fritz Lang died August 2, 1976, age 85. Buried at Forest Lawn Hollywood Hills, Los Angeles, California. Austrian director of Metropolis and M, who fled Nazi Germany in 1934 after Goebbels reportedly offered him control of the German film industry, spent 4 decades directing in Hollywood. F.W. Murnau died March 11, 1931, at age 42, buried at Stahnsdorf Southwestern Cemetery, Stahnsdorf, Brandenburg, Germany. Director of Nosferatu and Sunrise, a song of 2 humans who died in a car crash on the Pacific Coast Highway a week before his final film's premiere. His skull was stolen from his grave in 2015. Ernst Lubitsch died November 30th, 1947, age 55, buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, California. The master of sophisticated comedy, whose touch was so distinctive that the Lubitsch touch became an industry term, directed Trouble in Paradise, The Shop Around the Corner, and To Be or Not to Be, died of a heart attack at 55. Preston Sturges died August 6, 1959, age 60. Buried at Ferncliff Cemetery, Hartsdale, New York. The first screenwriter to become a major director, whose Sullivan's Travels, The Lady Eve, and The Palm Beach Story made him the sharpest comedy voice in 1940s. Hollywood died broke in a New York hotel room after years of creative decline. Michael Curtis died April 10, 1962, age 75, buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, California. Hungarian-born director of Casablanca, The Adventures of Robin Hood, and Yankee Doodle Dandy, who directed over 100 films for Warner Brothers, won the Best Director Oscar for Casablanca in 1944. George Stevens died March 8, 1975, age 69, buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, California. Director of Shane, A Place in the Sun, Giant, and the Diary of Anne Frank, who won 2 Best Director Oscars, filmed the liberation of Dachau as head of the Schaff film unit, the footage used as evidence at the Nuremberg trials. Vincent Minnelli died July 25, 1986, age 83, buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, California. Director of An American in Paris, Gigi, Meet Me in St. Louis, and The Bandwagon, who won the Best Director Oscar for Gigi. Father of Liza Minnelli, from his marriage to Judy Garland. Onni Peter Bogdanovich died January 6, 2022, age 82, buried at a private location. Director of The Last Picture Show, Paper Moon, and Targets, whose early 1970s career made him one of the brightest stars of New Hollywood, before a series of commercial failures and personal tragedies derailed his momentum. Robert Aldrich died December 5, 1983, age 65, buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, California. Director of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, The Dirty Dozen, and Kiss Me Deadly, whose career spanned from noir to war films to camp horror. Nicholas Ray died June 16, 1979, age 67, buried at Oak Hill Cemetery, Neenah, Wisconsin. Director of Rebel Without a Cause and In a Lonely Place, whose troubled personal life mirrored the outsider characters he depicted on screen, Jean-Luc Godard said cinema is Nicholas Ray. Otto Preminger died April 23, 1986, age 80, buried at Woodlawn Cemetery, Bronx, New York. Austrian-born director of Laura, Anatomy of a Murder, and Exodus, who fought censorship throughout his career, released The Moon is Blue without a production code seal in 1953.